11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think Canelo won it.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
Thanks to those joining me live. Those have joined us on the archive. The Calix will be joining us momentarily. Calix is tardy. He's late. He's late to the party. He'll be on in any second now. Actually, he should be anyway. We'll see. We're gonna hold Calix accountable today. All right. I appreciate everybody tuning in. JC, how's it going? If you're just on the archive, hit the like button. And all that good stuff. Impromptu show. A nice HCP show. So much to talk about. And we have a fight card this weekend. And, you know, we got Itauma versus Whyte. Very interesting fight. And a fight that can dictate where we're going to be going soon enough. We have Ball versus Goodman, two undefeated fighters, one from England, one from Australia. Ball is actually the only world champion out of the UK right now. If I got that wrong, I got it wrong. With the men, before people jump on me, it's only for the males or whatever. All right. And of course, Ford versus Supernova. That should be a very interesting fight. So, I am really looking forward to this card. It is tomorrow. And shout out to Remy. He says, what up, D-Style? How's it going? Puerto Rico has more champs. If you have more than one, you have more champs. It just is what it is. Like right now, the UK... The UK is struggling right now. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Jake Paul wants a piece of AJ. This is where the heavyweight division is right now. Right? Look, Itauma is Moses Itauma. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Is a hell of a talent, dare I say, a special talent. Although he has quite the ways to go, but this is a good test here. This is on paper anyway, to me, a step up. And Dillian Whyte, a win over Dillian Whyte, depending how he wins, especially, may very well get Moses the title shot that some don't feel he should be getting, but some are okay with it. There's a push at the moment to this concept talk about him being the youngest heavyweight champion in the history of the world. Can't ignore the talent and wouldn't be able to ignore a big win over Dillian Whyte. And it looks to me like that's what Riyadh sees in Turk Al-Sheikh. It looks like that's what they want to do. He's only 20 years old. So they may have to, pull the trigger soon enough if they want to break the quote-unquote record. I think the record's 22 or 21. And Dillian Whyte's in his way, but how will he win if he does win? That's the interesting part, right? Dillian Whyte is I've never been that impressed with Dillian Whyte, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I've always been impressed by the guy. But what I will say is, for this modern day heavyweight division, he is solid. And if Moses Otama does short work of him and dominates him or just destroys him, we're going to see Itauma challenge Usyk, I believe. I think whether we want to see it or not, that's what we're going to get. That's where we're going. That's where we're heading, right? Alexander Wilson says he's going to blow through him. Well, if he blows right through Dillian Whyte, we're going to see Moses Otama versus Alexander Usyk. It's going to happen. I want to see. Shout out to Remy. I think I shouted this out, but shout out to you, but thanks for some chat. Demetrio saying Dillian Whyte is now a UK Pinata. Very interesting. I have Moses Otama winning this fight by like a mid-round stoppage. He'll get a knockdown or two early, but I think Dillian Whyte will go a couple of rounds, but we'll see. He probably gets knocked out by an uppercut. I'll be very surprised if it goes the distance. And that's how I feel about it. And after a win like this, I think they're going to try to make him the youngest heavyweight champion in history, and they're going to try to do that Usyk fight. I think that's where they're heading. I think they're hoping for a big, dramatic victory to really justify it, right? If Dillian Whyte was good enough to challenge Fury for the heavyweight championship, then why wouldn't he be good enough? Like that's going to be the logic they're going to use, right? Like, that's how they're going to do it. Now, this is a tough fight, and Dillian Whyte gives them fits. That's a different story. I think they're going to drop the whole youngest champion of all time thing. Personally. Calix is 20 minutes late. We're going to call him out when he comes on. We're going to call him out. Like he's 20 minutes late. He said 10 minutes in 10 minutes, 10 minutes ago. 20 minutes ago. All right? Park Rivers and Ajit should get shots. Look, let me tell you something. Caballel and Parker deserve a shot. I want to see Parker get his title shot. I'm an advocate for Parker. All right? I think Parker deserves a shot. He's been on a roll. He's pulled up a bunch of upsets. I thought he was in a Dubois. Personally, I thought he was going to win that fight, but Dubois got sick, and then the fight didn't happen. All right, so that is what it is. So hopefully, it'll be a tougher fight for Otama. He'll have to wait later to get his title shot rather than sooner, just like Calix. Shout out. What's up, Calix?
What's going on? How are you? Happy Friday.
Pretty good, pretty good. You're 10 minutes late. What's going on right now? Like, what's where?
Are you gonna take away some of my pay? It's gonna be pay taken away for this.
We're gonna take away no, not your pay. We'll take away some of your pride.
Is there something that protects me as a worker, like the Ali Act? Is there something that protects me?
Like there is, but like there's so many ways around it. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter.
Good.
So
that's how I like it.
No, but I was just finishing up on the Itauma versus Whyte. They're really pushing this. He could be the youngest heavyweight champion of all time thing. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if he destroys Dillian Whyte, they're going to go for it. They're going to pull the trigger. They're going to try to make it. And I think at this stage, it's a mistake. I don't care how good he looks against Whyte. He's not ready for Usyk right now, in my opinion. But
let him go for it. D-Stop, they want it. Let him go for it. Let him go for it. Be aggressive. I like aggressiveness.
They're trying to break this record, but like they're getting in the way of Parker getting a shot.
Yeah. Okay. I'm fine with that. Jermaine Taylor was 3.5 years in to his career when he fought Bernard Hopkins for the Undisputed Championship. So this is stuff that it's fast for now, but this is stuff that used to be normal, and it's not. This isn't the strongest division, so if he fails at the top, he can bounce back. He can take some time, bounce back.
Mike Tyson actually was 20 years old in 4 months. Somebody brought that up.
Oh, I thought he was 19. I thought he was 19.
It was 20 years, 4 months. How old is, I know Itauma's 20 right now. So why are there's no commentators going on and on about he could be the youngest champion ever and all this other shit? Like,
are they talking about a Reggie? Are they talking about a Reggie belt?
Or maybe they mean the youngest undisputed heavyweight champion of all time. Is that where we're going with it?
Maybe, because I don't think he can pull. I don't think he can beat Mike Tyson with that record. I don't think. Is he already older than Tyson was?
Well, he's 20 already.
Yeah, so he can't do it. Can't do it.
Well, August, he just turned 20, actually. He just turned.
Yeah, he still can't do it.
No, if he knocks out Whyte in 2-3 rounds and they do that Usyk fight in 3 months, he could do it.
Oh, there you go. I'm down for that. Let's do it. Let's go for it. We need some.
I can't believe they're pushing for it, bro. Like they're pushing for it. Like they really want it. Like they want to do this.
Do it.
So he's got to like not get injured, win in emphatic fashion, be healthy enough, and then go right straight into a Usyk fight. So because of that, Joseph Parker can get his title shot. Because Calix wants to see history.
Yeah, that's right. Step aside, Joseph Parker.
Well, he ain't gonna beat Usyk anyway. So like I know.
I went from advocating for Joseph Parker to get the last fight to not step aside now.
Well, look. Hold on, maybe Parker get a crack at the winner or something. I don't know, but because there's only one shot at this. Like, you're not gonna run into another 20-year-old ready to become the youngest heavyweight champion ever again, like this.
To seize everything, he ever wanted. Is he gonna capture it or let it slip?
Damn. What do they eat over there? By the way, it's not spaghetti, right? So
yeah. His knees are weak, arms are heavy.
You know, English muffins.
Yeah.
Mom's English muffins. Anyway, but
porridge. Do they eat porridge still? What do they eat over there?
There's Bobby on a sweater already.
Crumpets? Is that a thing? What?
I don't know what they eat. Sorry. So what? So how do you think he's going to beat Whyte?
Stoppage. I think he's going to stop him.
Dominating performance?
No, not at first. Not at first, and then it's going to turn into that, and he's going to stop him. He's going to catch him in a trade.
Uppercut?
Possibly.
Uppercut.
If he's watching film, could be uppercut.
I mean, Nick Ball versus Sam Goodman from Australia. Look, Sam's.
Is this a sneaky upset pick? Is that what this is?
I'll say this. Sam is good, man. But I just don't think he doesn't have the firepower. He just doesn't to keep Nick Ball off of him. He just doesn't have it. Like,
you don't think?
There's a lack of firepower. Like, there's no power. Like, he doesn't have the pop in those punches to keep Nick Ball off of him. Nick Ball, he's like a poor man's version of Isaac Cruz. You know what I mean? Really, really good, and he's good at it. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of like
you always gotta bring up Isaac Cruz at some point. You always gotta sneak it in there.
Don't they fight alike? They're kind of similar, right?
Yeah, somewhat. I would say Nick Ball's better.
I just think Isaac Cruz does it like in a superior fashion, but nonetheless, look, Nick Ball, underrated foot speed. He's a wrecking ball. He's got pretty good power, and he's relentless. Goodman is going to have to box on the move here, stick and move, and that's going to tire him out. I think he gets stopped late in this fight.
He's gonna have to box good, man. Is what he's gonna have to do.
He's
Nick
good,
Ball,
man, but
the best the method of victory with the that's most likely is Nick Ball KO. That's the only one in minus territory. Then it goes to Nick Ball decision. So it's all, I was watching it earlier this week. It got down to like minus 400. Now Nick Ball's all the way up to minus 600. So I think people agree with you that Sam Goodman is money's coming in on Nick Ball. I'll put it that way.
okay. One more fight here. I like this fight. By the way, do you think Goodman can win?
Yeah, I do. I do. These dudes, man, like let's be honest. Like these champions, they're like 95% of these guys are all beatable. I mean,
yeah, well, of course. I'm not saying
what I'm
they're
saying is like this
but
isn't like your run of the mill like old school champion that okay, man, he's gonna get past this when we move on to like he's capable of slipping up against Sam Goodman. He is. I'm still picking Nick Ball.
like I just think like Sam's good, man, but I just think Nick Ball's at another level. I think Nick Ball takes it late stoppage, but we'll see. I don't think Goodman has the firepower to keep him off, and I think it's going to cause a lot of problems for Goodman. Ford versus Nova. I like this fight. I think Ford wins. I think it's a good fight. I think Ford wins like an 8-4 type decision.
Let me look at the odds on that one real quick too, because I'm with you. I like Ford decision. I just want to see what this is real quick.
I'm sure the odd makers agree with you with Ford decision. I'm pretty certain, actually. I'll be surprised if they don't.
Yeah, I don't even see this. I don't even see it on the board.
Is this the state of boxing where all these fights are not even on gambling sites? Is this where we're at right now?
I'm looking for it. I don't see it. But I like Ford. I like Ford by decision. I'll take that like 8-4, something like that.
Like I remember when I was in Vegas last year, I could have just bid through an app, but I'm like, I'm in Vegas, I got cash on me. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna place a bet, So I'm over here. I got like $200, and I place it on the table. I'm like 200 on Tim Zoo, and they're like, "Sir, we don't have the fight like on the to bet." Like I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm at the MGM." But what do you mean? Like the fight's across the street. Like they don't give a shit about boxing, bro. Like this is insane. Like the press conference was literally like right there in the MGM. But anyway, but that's where we were. So but at least I got to keep my 200 though. You know what I mean? One more thing here. So would you say Goodman is the most likely upset of the three fights?
Yeah.
All right. Because he's good, man. You know what I mean?
The Australian delegation needs to step up. That's what I'm gonna say. Like y'all need to step up a little bit.
Hey, Sam's good, man. Like I'm telling you right now, but I just don't think he's got it to beat Nick Ball.
UK dudes need to step up too because there's only one champion.
By the way, if Sam Goodman wins this fight, they got nothing, bro.
They got nothing in the UK except.
But it's no longer
what do they do out there? The tea and crumpets. They got the tea and the crumpets, and like the very dreary. Every time I see like video of London, it just seemed like very dreary out there, very dreary, and that's the championship picture. I don't even know why I make fun of the UK because I like the UK. I like UK people. I'm not trying to be like you with Oklahoma. You hate the state of Oklahoma. I get it. I like UK people.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the moochers.
Just fight better is all I'm saying. Y'all need to fight better. UK people fight better.
Oklahoma are like they're like moochers of Texas. You know what I mean? They're kind of just living off of Texas, but pretending they're their own state. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel about Oklahoma. But except my good friend from Oklahoma, I already forgot his name. Tony Boswell. Shout out to Tony Boswell. He's cool. He's cool. Hey, say. Plus, all the hardworking dudes in Oklahoma, all the hardworking dudes in Oklahoma, they come down south to Texas to work. You know what I mean? It's all the lazy ones stay up there. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying. Shout out to Chico. Can we talk TKO Takeover and not Ball or Cruz, please? Me and Calix proven right. Trump 2028 winning.
TKO. We talked about that. We talked about TKO the other day. I mean, we can go further into it if you want.
We're going to talk about it some more, but really quick, Remy, what up, Calix? Shout out to you, brother. I appreciate the support. Look,
Chico wants us to talk about how great the Ali Act is. That's
sure.
What we want, and how we need to protect the legacy of that man right there.
By the way, like just in honor of his avatar, we'll just play this.
Man, that nigga was that Japanese guy was in shape.
Like that picture he's got is Mikey Garcia, where like he was covered his love handles with a towel, but he was flexing. I don't know what it's whatever to me, but what are we doing? But Champ Ross, how's it going? So look, before we talk about TKO some more and the Ali Act or whatever, like I just want to. Any other fights, Calix, you wanted to mention, bring up, etc.?
No, the ones this weekend, no.
Right, okay.
One thing I didn't talk about with you though, and just 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
I was thoroughly impressed because I didn't do a post-fight video with you about this, but I was thoroughly impressed. It's not too often I watch a fight and I'm just very satisfied with what I saw from both fighters. And Shakur Stevenson versus my guy William Zapeda. I just left that like, man, Shakur looked great. He looked like everything, I had been talking about him for about 4 years ago. And then, he hits those slumps and it's like, come on, man, like get it together. And then the same thing with Zapeda. It's like, man, this dude's not only exciting, it looks like he's got a ceiling here. And then Golden Boy starts to kind of drop the ball with them and all this stuff, right? And then I watch Zapeda against Shakur, and I'm like, yes, this is everything I've been expecting from both of these guys. And it just looks like for whatever reason, it took them a while to get to this destination. It could be mismanagement, mispromotion, and it could be them getting in the way of themselves, right? In the case of Shakur, it's that too. But it takes a lot to make Shakur exciting. And William Zapeda did that. If William Zapeda can make Shakur look exciting, then there's never going to be a fight where this guy doesn't look exciting, and it's not a fun fight. And he proved that. But he also proved that he's not just fun and exciting. He's got a ceiling. Like this guy can win legit championships. He is a legit top 2-3 guy in the division.
Right.
And he's going to be a guy who should be able to sell tickets if promoted correctly, if you get him right back in the ring, if you put him in the right spots, right? And that's what I'm excited about with Zapeda. And as far as Shakur, you have to continue to match him with guys who are going to go after him and force him to fight, and keep him in the ring as well. So that's what I got to say. Like I was thoroughly impressed with both fighters. And Shakur, he has solidified himself as a top 10 pound for pound. Even like, I mean, you can have him top 5, 6, 7, like in that range at this point.
100%. Look, while we didn't do a show together, we both actually did talk about the fight on separate videos. But yeah, I thought Shakur looked great. And I just like that's the way you're supposed to do it.
Yep.
Like that. Like you didn't know the movie Bad Boys when like I don't remember the name of the characters, but Will Smith telling Martin like, now that's the way you drive. From now on, that's the way that's the way you fight. Not holding and grab and fighting negative and boring the crowd. Like that's the way you should do it. And I do think Zepeda's style kind of forced him to do that. So it just is what it is. Chico with the super chat. Cali X, is that how we have to say it? Cali X,
yeah,
would be perfect, but it's his blind defense of a specific desert people that makes me raise eyebrows at his America First loyalty. Right? All right. Alexander Wilson, Kelly, he said Cal-X. I mean, we'll call him all types of names here, right? Kelly X, what's up with the basketball academies rating high schools for talent? My high school's two best players transferred a day before the first day of school. How can you work with this nonsense? They think it was super chat, so you got to give an answer to that.
It's
and
happening.
If you want to answer to Chico as well.
Chico, no, I mean, we'll talk about the TKO stuff, and we'll address all that with him. But the basketball thing, man, is stuff that all coaches are talking about right now. AAU basketball being broken, the recruiting process being broken, illegal recruiting, and then prep academy stealing players from high schools, all this stuff. It's a tough. I could do a whole video on that. I could do a whole 5-hour video on that, but it's a boxing show, so I don't want to go too deep into it. But I believe when he says he lost his two top players to academies the day before school, I believe him. I believe him.
Right. Where was this when Cal-X was like this was around when Cal-X was playing basketball and dunking on fools in high school? Like he would have been got him by an academy, you know what I mean? And we would never know Cal-X would have been in the NBA right now. You never know.
Like Sam Goodman, I was good, man, but I wasn't that good to get rated by prep school. I wasn't that good.
Sam's good, man.
And to address that comment too, by the way, is I know of kids that knew back in April, May that they were transferring schools and did not tell the coach until the day before school. So you might want to find out from people who knew the kids. They probably knew before yesterday or before the day before school that they were.
So how exactly does that work? Because I can only speak for, well, I don't even know if it still works this way, but I know like in Texas, you have to have an address registered in that district, and that's the school you have to go to unless you had another address where you could prove you lived in. Isn't that what they do?
If you're a public school. Prep academies, you can get them from anywhere. You get them from anywhere.
Man, damn. Well, so they're creating like super teams, like in these prep academies or something. Like, what's going on?
That's exactly what they do.
Damn.
Super teams. Travel the country with super teams. Yep. And very little schooling going on there.
It's like the high school version of the Harlem Globetrotters. You know what I mean? What's going on there? So. Look, we could start like anywhere here, but I do want to say this. My God, there's some of you out there still holding the fort. Like some dudes are out here, like like when World War II was over. Not that we were alive, but I'm sure we heard the story of like the Japanese dude that was still like holding the fort. Like he thought the war was still going on, like 10 years, 15, 20 years later. Right. And like, bro, the war's over, bro. Like he wouldn't surrender. Like he's still fighting a good fight. Like, bro, they already bombed. Like the US already took over Japan. The emperor already told everybody he's not a god. Like that shit, it's over. The war's over. Like, but he's still holding the fort. And I feel like there's still dudes that are holding the fort, still trying to fight the good fight. And over what? Don't you see that the Titanic is sinking?
They're holding a lot more than forts. Yeah, it's done.
Well, like don't they understand that it's over? Like I don't think they get it. I just don't. And they're still like oh, but what about the UFC? The UFC, they have guys hold belts for too long too, and like they just go off and on and on and on.
By the way, I think you and look, shout out to Beeb too. He's over on Twitter doing this. Mm-hmm. I think you guys did a great job of pushing back on this fighter pay thing because I saw Fight Oracle talk about this, how fighter pay in the UFC has gotten better each year as the process is going on. And we talked about how a $7.7 billion deal makes the pie bigger. And as a result, the fighter scale is going to go up again, according to Dana White, even without the pay-per-view revenue.
Right.
And that's huge. But these dudes will still push back with, yeah, but look at the percent. They never talk about percentages with boxing. And I feel like you guys did a great job of pointing out that Dana White, you said it on our podcast the other day, is a combat sports active one that has produced more millionaires than any other promoter in combat sports. He's done it. And part of that is these guys are getting paid money to not get hit. They have real endorsement deals because more people, more eyeballs, more people are seeing it's more sustainable. But Beeb has done a great job also of pointing out that if you look at the other 99% of fighters, they're not getting paid. They're not getting protected. Nobody cares about drug testing when it comes to these guys. Nobody cares about if these guys are brain dead 10 years from now, 20 years from now. They simply don't care about any of that stuff. They only care about, you and I have talked about this for years, how when they talk about fighter safety, they're only talking about the fighter safety in the prism of perspective of the A-side fighter. That's it. They don't care about the dude. If they did, and shout out to Chauncey, because Chauncey is texting me about this. He's like, if dudes really care about fighter safety, wouldn't they be railing against the system that we currently have in place to where it's sanctioned and it's normal and everybody thinks it's normal for a fighter with who's maybe 3-0, 2-0, 1-0, like Torres Jr. And they roll a dude out there who's fresh off of an Uber shift. He's getting paid $5 to get drilled and get his head dribbled into the 19th row on ESPN Plus, and they do that every 3 months. Who cares? Like, does anybody care about that guy? No, man. That guy just kind of exits, stays left, and nobody ever talks. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, look at how great Torres! Just look at how he knocked that guy's head off." Nobody's looking at it like that poor guy just got his head knocked off in like 10 seconds. Like, does anybody care about that? They don't. And that's
they don't give a damn about it.
They don't care about fighter safety. In the UFC, I don't follow it as closely, but I'm assuming if they do that, it's not for long. It's not for long. They're not doing that for 20, 25 fights where Torres Jr. just gets out there and they roll some poor bastard out there and he gets absolutely drilled and people act like this is perfectly normal. How about we put the 1-0 guy against the 1-0 guy? How about we do that? Yeah, and then the 10-20 guy with 15 straight knockout losses, he can fight a guy that sucks. And maybe we can pay them a little better.
And I'll say this. It's not even like 99% sounds bad, but it's actually like 99.9% of the fighters, if we're honest. Like it's a very small amount of fighters that are making. They want to talk about percentages, right? And before I make my point, let me get the super chat. Chico with the love handle towel covering Mike Garcia avatar. Can we get a roundtable with that Gale woman who called Calix wrong now that this TKO and Saudi moves have hit the chessboard? Well, the round table's been dead, all right, but we might revive it one day, and maybe we'll have a spirited debate again on a round table in the future. But it is what it is. So people came at me, Calix, because I was making points right. They want to hold the fort, and they seem to miss all the points. Right? They want to take out pie charts, right? They want to make pie charts, and they want to become mathematicians about the percentages, and they want to bring up like the NFL and what the NFL players make, and the percentage that they get from the league, and then they want to bring up leagues, and they want to bring up all this other stuff. But you know what's funny? The more you look into this, like, because the UFC is making money, they're making waves. And all the boxing people want to scold them about how they're not giving the right percentage to the fighters, right? Oh, you look at all the money you're making. You're not giving any of it to your fighters. They're fighting for peanuts. Like, that's what they want to do, right? They want to tell the UFC what to do with their money. They want to tell TKO what to do with their money, right? Meanwhile, you want to talk about pies? Well, what's up with 1/10 of a percentage? Since you guys are mathematicians out there, figure that one out, all right? Of fighters getting like 99% of the pie when it comes to the money in boxing. Like they're getting all the, like, you want to make a pie chart about how like a handful of fighters take all the money in the sport, all of it. They get all of it, right? The bully pulpit has shifted from, okay, maybe it went from a Don King taking a big part of the money and giving us some great, awesome fight cards, by the way. All those times were horrible for the fight fan, right? But then you don't want to bring up the pie charts of how fighters today, the bully pulpit is now the fighters that are on top, right? The fighters that are getting overpaid and taking away money from the rest of the sport, right? That are draining the sport dry and leaving nothing behind for the next generation. That's essentially what we have right now. Calix, what network right now is clamoring to get boxing on their network right now?
Zero of them.
There's, what are they left behind? If the legends of the sport left pave the road, my God, have the last 20 years been nothing but potholes, right? And an unpaved road left behind.
It's not only that they weren't concerned with the future of the sport and developing it and building it. It's even worse than that. And people still missing the point. This was just with the American power brokers specifically, and this ramped up big time the past 15 years. This was, they know what's coming and they're just trying to get what they can get out of it personally, as much of it before it happens, without caring about the fan and the overall health of the sport. They certainly don't care about the fighters. And that's the thing that bothers me the most, is the people who defend them. They think they're defending them in honor of the fighters. These dudes virtue signal. They think that they have some sort of monopoly on virtue, and that they're going to come out here and debate on behalf of the fighters out there. The fighters don't want them. Dude, I guarantee you silently a lot of fighters are pissed off with what's been going on. A lot of fighters want to be more active, and we see them starting to be more public about that. And they've wanted to be more public about that for years. So stop. And I think that's been your point with fighter pay and a lot of things, is stop arguing. Stop making this argument for PBC and Top Rank and all these people, that it's a pro-fighter argument. It's not. It's not a pro-fighter argument. This isn't a pro-fighter system that you're arguing for. It's not. This is not a pro-fighter system. And you think that boxing has some sort of I would argue that overall for the sport, top to bottom, UFC is better for the fighter than boxing is. At the top, no, that's not the case. We've seen that. We've seen fighters go over there like Ngannou and get paid, and Conor McGregor, they want to get paid. But those guys are at the top and they see what boxers make at the top. But those other tiers, no, not at all. No, they could care less about those people. And these people who are making these arguments could care less about them as well.
Yeah, so some left-handed guy, because I guess he's left-handed, that's why he calls himself something about being lefty on Twitter, right? You know, he responded to one of my tweets and he said, no, like, it's not, Canelo's a pipe dream. These UFC guys, they want to make Shakur paydays. They want to make Devin Haney paydays. They want to make those type of paydays. And here is like the cold hard reality, bro. And of course, everyone always wants to make more money, right? No one's arguing that, right? If a UFC fighter knows his worth and he sees that some boxer who doesn't even generate interest and no one knows who they are is making more money than them, of course you're going to feel some type of way about that, right? No one is arguing that. But what I will say is this, right? One model is a model that makes money and generates interest. The other model, right, is a sugar daddy model. That's what it is. And people get mad at me when I say that, but that's what it is. Like it's And once you get past the sugar babies, who the fuck makes money in boxing exactly?
Mhm.
What are they talking about? And to explain what I mean by that, of course, you have your Canelos and your Anthony Joshuas and guys like that, right? And then you have your Riyadh season fighters that are literally getting overpaid in Riyadh season. Most of them, in my opinion, right? None of that money, you can't really justify it by this is what they sell, this is what they generate, so many pay-per-views they sell. You can't really justify it like that, right? Like that model isn't going to last forever. It just isn't.
Yeah. So, and this is the thing too. There are going to be people out there that are going to say, oh yeah, but boxing's still going to be a fracture. And of course, man, you can't gobble up every single boxer in the world. That's just not going to happen. So, but what's going to happen is there's going to be severe FOMO from fighters, fear of missing out, severe, because what's going to happen is they're building a folder of combat sports and they're trying to own all of it. So what's going to happen is boxing is going to go to Paramount Plus under the TKO Zuffa Boxing blah 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 banner. And once again, we don't want to get deep into the weeds with that because I don't think people want us to get deep into the weeds with that. What I'll just explain it more broadly is you're going to have boxers appear front row at UFC events. You're going to have them pop up at WWE. And look, man, you're going to have some fighters that just can't puncture the market. And I think, I do believe Bud Crawford is being one of those fighters that's artificially overpaid at this point. I think he's getting back end money. And you could argue a lot of his career, he was a little overpaid because he just, for whatever reason, couldn't, as great as he is, one of my favorite fighters, he couldn't puncture that the market broadly. I don't know what it is. And he's going to go to a UFC event and be called
Kendrick Lamar.
rapper Kendrick Lamar, right? And he's going to go to W and he just, for whatever reason, but you're going to have fighters that are more marketable, boxers, say it Abdullah Mason and Emiliano Vargas. You're going to have fighters pop up at WWE events and flip over the top rope. And other fighters are going to see this and they're going to say, I want to be a part of that. I need to be a part of that. This is a huge pie. And I'm going to be able to market myself more broadly, and I'm going to be able to get paid more money outside of the ring. That is the goal. Like, that is the key goal that everybody should be going for. Even if you're not a boxer, you need to get paid money while not working. You need to get paid passive income, marketing deals. So that's what these boxers are going to have to do. And they're going to see other fighters getting serious marketing deals, not like whatever Tank's got. Like Tank's got like baby deals. Like these dudes have other than Canelo and AJ, and Jake Paul. Like who has serious? In a way, who has serious? There's a handful of them in boxing as a whole who have serious marketing deals. Like Teofimo's Bud Light deal, it's a baby deal. They have serious deals. The UFC fighters, some of them have serious deals. When the boxers, some of these boxers start getting serious deals, that's when you're going to start to see the FOMO. And I do believe that temporarily, I told you this the other day, I don't know if it's sustainable, but temporarily you will see some sort of renaissance in boxing. You will start seeing big fights pop up on CBS occasionally. You will see more fighters being marketed more broadly out to middle America and America as a whole and getting better endorsement deals. I think you're going to have some sort of renaissance, whether it's sustainable over 10, 20 years. I don't know. Whether you can build off of it, I don't know. But in the meantime, it's going to be fun for boxing fans. And it's just baffling. It's confusing to me. And I'm just at the point where it just has to be something personal on a personal level for these guys to still be defending the old system that's archaic and prehistoric and
by the way, an old system that is reinforced by the very Ali Act that they claim is there to protect the fighters. And it doesn't protect the fighters. Like this is the and you have all these dudes like on Twitter. They're like, "Well, tell me, we'll get it here." First of all, they're not trying to get rid of it. They're trying to amend it. That's another thing, right? Like all the good things that I kind of like from the Ali Act, because they're fear mongering people. They're like, "Oh, don't you know that the Ali Act makes it so promoters need to provide health care for a fighter for injury sustained in a fight?" Like, no, that's actually from the 1996 Boxers Act. Okay. That was later amended into the Ali Act in 2000. So it's the 1996 version already had that in there. All the good parts were already in there.
They're not going to do that research, and then they're not even going to care that you said that. They're just going to start. And the sad thing is, this isn't even just like the regular boxing
No, but
fans.
this whole like protected from but here's the thing, Alex.
This is dudes that are on TV.
Here's why I was talking about the bully pulpit, right? When you transfer the power to a few on the very top, and they're getting a far majority of the pie, right? Like less than 1/10% of boxers are making like 99% of all the money or 90% of all the money in boxing, right? And but everybody wants to claim that this is pro fighter. But here's the problem, right? And it touches to this super chat here by Chico. Does the Ali Act protect coaches like Derek James and Manny Robles from getting robbed by fighters like Spence and Andy Ruiz? It does not. I personally know trainers that have been just ghosted by fighters, and there's nothing they could do. Nothing. There's nothing in the Ali Act. Okay, you want to talk about exploitation and abuse, and one of the biggest abuses I see in the sport of boxing are boxers, and especially at the very high end, not paying the trainer, right? After the services that the trainer rendered, right? And having a whole camp and whatnot, and they don't pay them. They don't pay people like this is one of the biggest problems. Right? All you did was shit the bully pulpit. That's all you really did, but you didn't really fix a problem of exploitation. People are still getting exploited left and right with this damn Ali Act. Like it's just like
in the fight, and then look, the fighters at the top will exploit people too.
That's what I mean. And
all of them, look, by the way, all of them exploit the boxing fans.
Yeah, but this whole Alex, this whole the Ali Act makes it to where the fighter needs to demand, he could demand to know what the numbers are, and they need to give it to him by law, right? Do you think Canelo Alvarez needs the Ali Act to put in the contract that I want to know how much the gate are? Like, I want access to all that shit. You think he needs that? And how many fighters bring money to the gate like that, or bring pay-per-view money like that? Like, how many fighters? Let's say theoretically, this protects fighters to know their numbers, right? Who is it helping? Because everywhere I look, we'll just see a bunch of boxing events that are losing money.
Mm-hmm.
So who's it helping? Exactly. Like, are these Riyadh seasoned fighters really going to demand that Turki Al-Sheikh show them the spreadsheet? I want to know if you're not ripping me off, Turkey. Like events selling less than 100,000 pay-per-view buys, right? Well, he's forking out millions to some of these fighters, right? Like, what are we doing? It's all of it is just to fearmonger people and to wanting to keep this Ali Act intact. But the Ali Act is just allowing these sanctioning bodies and these promoters to just enjoy this gravy train. It's all it's doing, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And the fighters at the very top, they're enjoying the Ali Act for what it is, but it doesn't benefit the majority of the sport.
Yeah, and I want these dudes to be quiet at this point, because they had years to talk about the ills of the sport, and now they want to jump in. And when I see big time boxing writers who, when Showtime Boxing was dropped by Paramount Plus, it wasn't picked up, just saying, no, man, like that, don't worry. It wasn't because of any type of ratings. It's just where we're headed. It's just and now I saw some of them last week. Once they see where this is headed, they start to freak out and they start to blame these people. You had the opportunity to do that 2-3 years ago. You had the opportunity to, when people were being demonized for bringing this stuff up 5, 10, 15 years ago, to speak up for those people and at least let those people have their opinion without being shamed. And you did nothing. You did nothing but sit on your hands. You did nothing but work for these people, for these networks. And you were quiet on these networks because you worked for these people and you don't want to lose your job. So shut up now. I don't want to hear it.
And here's the other thing, Alex.
That would be my message to these people. Just shut up. You had your opportunity. You had your opportunity, and it passed.
This promoter manager thing. let's ignore the fact that there's an easy loophole around it. It doesn't do anything anyway. But that aside, if you were a fighter and you like the dude that's your promoter and you would like him to be your manager as well, who the fuck's the government to tell you can't do that? This is the other problem. Like, fighters should have the freedom to sign whoever they want to sign as their manager and whoever they want to sign as their promoter, and that's it. I don't understand what the big deal is, but somebody might say no, but that's because there was coercive practices by people like Don King, and they would have close ties with the manager that was connected to the fighter, blah 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 blah. Right? Well, it's happening right now. Samson Lukowitz is literally right there, shoulder to shoulder with fucking Al Heyman. It's happening like right now, bro. Right? But what do you call like they just have different names, but it's the same role. It's the same kind of like situation. What's with these promoters being the middleman for Turki Al-Sheikh and the fighter? Like, well, what is that? Why is Turki Al-Sheikh? Look, Turki Al-Sheikh right now, like Turki Al-Sheikh. Like, what is he, Calix? Is he a promoter? Is he an advisor? Is he sugar daddy? Like, what's his title? He's the media. He has a Ring magazine. They're putting him in the Hall of Fame. He gets whatever he wants because he's paying a lot of money, right? And is he following the Ali Act?
You know what my favorite part about all that is when the dudes bring up, yeah, but we need separation of powers here. We need checks and balances. So then they'll bring up, they want the sanctioning bodies to stick around. And they'll say things like, and we kind of talked about this the other day, is you need a separate title body to do rankings and stuff like this. Someone who's unbiased. And they're not tied into a certain promoter or organization. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, because that's happening too. Wink, wink, right? And it's just hilarious to see people. I just wonder. I can't believe they're that dumb. Maybe they're just that gullible and naive.
And they're so like
the board of governors, D-style, right? Like Mauricio, like I need to figure out what we're gonna do here. So I'm gonna go to my board of governors.
Well, you know what it does, because these, like, everyone knows they're not really nonprofit.
No.
Right? They call themselves nonprofit, but they're not really nonprofit, right? And Mauricio Wink Wink he was elected as president, even though he inherited from his dad, which is like, dude, what are we doing? And all they do, like, you want to talk about exploitation of the fight? How about like taking 3% of their purse, right? And taking 3% in eliminators, taking in sanctioning fees from them. What about that type of exploitation? What about that? Right? Oh no, but when they fight for the WBC belt, it helps make them more money, does it? Does it really? Or is this just a little bit of a, because it sounds to me, right, that they all have a little bit of a deal going on. Certain sanctioning organizations, they work with certain promoters, and whenever one of the fighters is going to fight for a belt, the network gives them more money, so the sanctioning body gets a bigger percentage of the pot. It looks like they have a little sweetheart deal going on. This is what it looks like to me. Right?
I'm trying to figure out what is an interim belt, what is a champion in recess. It's just, what is a regular type.
And here's the other thing, Calix, is I keep hearing that without the Ali Act stops a league from forming, like the UFC. And we need to stop it, right? That's what I keep hearing. 2 questions for you. Number one, right? First of all, why didn't a league form before the Ali Act? If boxing was around for 100 years and there was no league, right? It worked just fine, right? And then, but here's the second part. No one ever stops and just asks themselves, Well, what is wrong with that? Like, what's wrong with a league of fighters? Like, what's everyone's been brainwashed to believe that that's a bad thing. Right? Oh no, we can't do that. Like, why not? Every other sport does it.
Yeah,
Every,
and by the way, this 100-year model, number one, it's not working right now. That's the point, and it's any of the good cards that have been, pretty much all of them the past couple of years, and you talked about this with me off the air, has been Saudi driven, right? And what are they trying to do? They're trying to get rid of the old model.
but Alex,
And then on top of that detail, just because it's a 100-year model, maybe that model doesn't work anymore. There's going to come a time when the NFL isn't the universe, where there's gonna come a time when the NFL spreads itself too thin, and then tries to take too much from the consumer, and they start to get too big, and then another football league is going to come. It's been tried multiple times, but it might be 50 years from now, it might be 70 years, but it's going to happen. And what I'm saying is, we're there with boxing now.
Yeah, but boxing has always, like, here's the thing: the boxing has always evolved, right? It always evolved. The Marquess of Queensberry rules was a step forward in evolution, right? At one point, they allowed kicks and tackling, and you could wear steel-toe boots, but they amended it. They came up with the London Prize rules, and then they came up with the Marquess of Queensberry rules, and then but you know what they didn't do? They didn't pass acts that didn't allow change, right? So then they came up with the neutral corner rule, and then they came up with, like, over time. At one point, I don't even know this guy, they wouldn't even let black fighters fight for the belts, right? But guess what they did? They changed, right? And they realized, you know what? Maybe we should let these black guys fight too. And then Jack Johnson became champion, and then they kept it moving, right? And then Joe Louis came around, and then at one point when the gloves got better, they started fighting more. Then they came up with, like, the unified rules of boxing, and then they started to over time they started to make changes, and then they used to have unlimited rounds, Cal, you know that, and then we went to 15, and then 12, and over time it changed. But you know what happened in the year 2000? They signed an Ali Act that said, we're not going to change anything anymore. Boxing's been evolving and changing over the years. No more change. We're going to leave it the way it is now and forever. No change whatsoever. Those in power now, like the structure, the Go-To Boys Club, we're going to keep it the way it is, right? And yeah, they froze out Don King, but like they came around and did the same thing Don King does. You know what I mean? Only just the cards weren't as good. And we are where we are, right? Like, the Ali Act handicaps the sport from making change and adapting, right? The year 2000, Calix, the reason I brought up why didn't boxing ever create a league, right? Maybe it would have. Maybe there would have been a league created. Maybe that would have been the natural ways of things if an act didn't come around and say, no, we're not going to allow that to happen. These guys right here, the WBC and the honorable, IBF and the honorable WBA, they have their place, and we're not going to move them at all. They're going to stay right here. They stay. These promoters, they stay, right? They don't go anywhere. Those managers, they stay right where they are. You all stay where you are, right? Go in and play charades with each other, but at the end of the day, you're going to stay where you are. No change whatsoever, right? So to me, the Ali Act made it to where the sport just couldn't evolve. It couldn't adapt. It couldn't get with the times like it always has, right? They froze it in time, and now we're stuck with this old-ass model, bro. Like we're in the sport of boxing, Calix. They still use pen and paper to score the fights, bro.
Yep.
They're adding up the score. Think about this. They're scoring the fights and they're adding them up on a sheet of paper in the year 2025. 10 seconds left, like they hire a guy to smack two things together that they can't figure out some way that this is how the sport doesn't evolve, right? We still have a dude ringside to ring a bell. Like you can't do it digital. Like what the fuck are we doing? This sport is stuck in the year 2000 and it hasn't evolved. It hasn't moved forward because there's a law that in the United States anyway that doesn't allow it to move forward, right? And it's not even doing what people are saying it's doing. Oh, it's going to stop exploitation. Bullshit. That's how I see it.
Yeah, so a couple things. Addressing this comment right here. We talked about this when I had Jay Chaudhry on the show one time, and this is one of the things he said fighters need to get a hold of. And this was a couple of years ago. He told me this. He's like, it's coming. Fighters need to get a hold of this, and they need to make sure they got their NIL, their own name, image, and likeness, and do not give it up. Do not give up a big percentage of it. So when I hear dudes lost a ton of money in sponsors, he's right, and that is something boxers need to look out for. What I'll say is sometimes, like, nothing's perfect, and sometimes I would argue right now we have a really good option in this that's going to be good for boxing fans. And for the love of God, man, I'm tired of looking at everything from everybody else's perspective except myself as a boxing fan. I shouldn't be shamed for looking out for and voting for my own interests. It's my own interests. I'm looking out for them, and I shouldn't be shamed. It's my part in this. It's my part in this sport. Is I'll support the sport, but in supporting the sport, and this was the big dust up on my last roundtable appearance was I should not be shamed for this. And no, man, I pay for this stuff, so I have a right to complain about it. I do. And you're not going to shut me up. You're not. You're not going to continue to look down on us because we'll continue to leave the sport. And the reason you're in this mess is because of that attitude. That's why. But also, when it comes to this, there's some confusions out there. And look, like Al Heyman tried this in 2013. Remember, not exactly. Al Heyman may have been ambitious to some sort. I don't know. But I think Al Heyman was scamming the market to make them believe that these were his ambitions, and he's raking in the money, and it's a pyramid scheme, and he knows it's going to run out at some point, but there was no long-term strategic thinking when it came.
It was a lottery scheme.
It was a money, like, and look, man,
which
like,
exploited the fighters, by the way,
because dudes are getting sued out here now, but it was very shady, man. Like, it was very laundromat money washing vibes. But like that, man, like, on top of, maybe you're talking about the belts. So, okay, let's look at the belts. He tried, we're going to get rid of the belts and have a PBC. You can't do that. Why? You can't do that because the Ali Act there, and he knew that, right? And he knew he couldn't reverse that because he doesn't have the connections that a Dana Whyte or the R.E. Emanuel have. So he can't do that. He can't change legislation. He's Al Heyman. He didn't even talk to anybody. He's a hermit. So he's telling the market that in order to get people excited and separate them from their money, and acting like I have some sort of long-term plan here to build stars and give you big fights while simultaneously giving you Errol Spence versus Phil LaGreco. That's what was happening.
How much, like,
and by the way, these just to end it off, it's the key difference here is the front end of PBC was not exciting. It was not fun. It was not super built cards on network TV. I mean, you had supposed stars on there, but it was lopsided fights. It just wasn't. It was never good.
There was a good start with like Danny Garcia versus Thurman and Thurman versus Sean Porter. I thought the start was decent.
You had some sprinkled in.
But like at the end of the day, obviously he did it all wrong because it's not around anymore. Like, when people get a return on their investment, guess what? Like, they renew your contract, right? Mm-hmm. The reason I'm saying it was a laundry scheme, in my opinion, is because essentially Al Heyman had his fighters, and his fighters would fight with the money he was given by the network, right? Al Heyman gets a cut out of every fighter as their advisor. right? So Al Heyman was raking up a lot of money during that time. Al Heyman's good. See, when people say Al Heyman failed, I don't. It depends on how you see failure. Did he? I think he succeeded on exactly what he wanted to do, right? And if it worked out for the better, I'm sure he wouldn't complain. But he didn't care if at the end, when you're doing a hustle, it's you're hustling somebody. You don't really care about the success at the back end. You just don't care, right? And sometimes you could, like, I'll give you an example. If you want to do a termite treatment for somebody, right, to make sure termites don't infest the home, they don't really know if the chemical you're using is effective and if it's going to do the job. They don't really know that, and there's a likelihood that the termites will never infest the home, right? But in the case of Al Heyman, there was no proper chemical use, and the termites ate the home alive. But Al Heyman doesn't care because he already got paid his money, and it's going. He went out back already. Like, he's good, And I always wonder, why is he so secretive, or why is he so like behind the scenes and so like? It's because he never had an interest in being out there in the limelight, because he always knew, at the end of the day, I'm going to disappear at some point, and that's it, right? So, any final thoughts, Cal, before we wrap this one up?
Yeah. How excited are you on a month out on Canelo versus Bud? Like, where would you gauge it right now? I'm somewhat. I think I'll get there fight week for sure.
From a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like whatever, 10 being like, oh my god, I'm so fucking excited, I'll say like a 7 right now.
And have you changed your mind on anything? No. Like,
I have a lot of. Here's the thing. I think Crawford, like, and it's all like let me just say this, because this is just a sport to me. That's it. Like, it's just a fucking sport. Like, it's two dudes. They're both great fighters. They're going to go in there. One's going to win. One's going to lose, unless it's a draw, right? And then we all lose. But I just think I'm interested in a lot of the breakdowns, Calix, because people are breaking this down like Crawford is a special fighter. He's so skilled. There's a lot of emphasis on the skill of Crawford, a lot of emphasis on the abilities of Crawford, how Crawford's a pound-for-pound fighter, how Crawford's once in a generation, how Crawford is a special fighter, that he's different, he's this, he's that. And a lot of the Canelo praise is more, well, he's bigger than Crawford. He's got a big neck. Can Crawford hurt him? I think what people are underestimating are the skills of Saul Canelo Alvarez. I think they're underestimating how skillful and how good Canelo is. In fact, there's things Canelo does better than Crawford, in my opinion. And a lot of things that we'll be talking about, and defense is one of them. I think Canelo's a better defensive fighter than Bud. So, I think this is not the mismatch in the skill department that people are making it out to be, where only the size of Canelo is going to make the difference. I'll say that.
Yeah, and it's what I'll say is they've done a great job of marketing, in that last year, if you would have brought this up, or 2 years ago, some people would have thought you crazy, but people are sold on this because they're looking at Canelo's last fight, and he's maybe past it. And look, Bud's last fight too, and I understand maybe better competition, but he showed flaws as well, and also somewhat of a close fight, right? So, so I think they're both a little past their prime, all that stuff, up there in age. So that's a wash as well for me. But I think where they've done a good job of selling it is they've done a good job of, I call it height class. They've done a good job of, yeah, but look at the pictures. Bud looks just as big, if not bigger than Canelo. Yeah, look at that little scuffle they had Canelo's actually going backwards and Bud's going forwards. I think Bud's more physical. I heard Bud deadlifts 500 pounds. I heard they're doing a good job with the tall tales and the because I mean Bud is that dude. Like he is the guy that he walks in the room and you're like, yeah, I could tell he's that dude. He's kind of scary. He's kind of a scary and sadistic dude. I get that. But I go back to there are weight classes for a reason. This is a big jump. You went from 147 to 154. Now you're going 54 to 168 to take on a generational great, man. Like, good luck. Good luck.
Because you know what's going on right now, Calix, with a lot
the
of
odds these style have tightened and tightened.
Yeah, but
and
do you remember when? Yeah, the odds are definitely tight. But do you remember when like Dirk Nowitzki was compared to Larry Bird?
Yeah.
And why did they compare him to Larry Bird?
Because he was white.
That's about it, right? Like I at least you tell me that they don't play alike at all. Like you know what I mean? But okay, like I never understood the comparisons other than they're a white player in the NBA. That's about it, right? They're not even from the same country, you know. They're like whatever. But like the reason I'm saying that stereotypes are a very strong thing. Like they really are, right? Yeah. And in boxing more so than anything. And I think there's this stereotype that the Mexican is a less skilled, come forward, high guard fighter, and the African American fighter is the skillful wizard, fighter. And the thing is this:
people are falling into traps. Not only that maybe they'll.
I think people are. I'm hearing people say things about Bud that I never heard them say before.
They're calling Bud. I've heard people call Bud a slick black fighter, a slick fighter, and that's Canelo.
I'm not saying. Look, I'm not saying Bud. Look,
but these style, Bud's one of the most skilled fighters I've ever seen, right? All that stuff. You know how high
he is skilled, yeah.
What I'm saying is, one thing he's not
the style
being is slick. That dude wants to fight.
He's not. But even if he wanted to, he's not Pernell Whitaker.
No.
Even if he wanted to, even if he tried, if he wanted it more than anything in the world, he could never fight like Floyd. Like it just is what it is, bro. Like those guys have their gift. Like Crawford has his gifts. There's things that Crawford is really good at, right? So I'm not diminishing him as a fighter, but I'm hearing things. I heard Tarver break it down. He's like, I got to go with Crawford because he's got that computer. You know, he analyzes everything and he'll figure you out. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I'm not saying that's not partially true, but you're talking about him like he's Floyd Mayweather in his prime. Like you're talking about him like he's a wizard in there. Like he's this untouchable. He's not. He just isn't. The amount of people that have convinced themselves that Crawford's not even going to get hit is like, wow. If he doesn't get hit and dominates Canelo and knocks him out, the way some people are talking, right? Well, damn. I can't wait to see that one. I'll be shocked. Yeah. But I think people are going to be surprised that the skill level is they're going to have to fight to know who's a higher skill level. That's how close the skill levels are, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't see like night and day, Calix. I don't see like, oh man, that guy's way more skilled than him. I just don't see it. I just don't. I think they both have their strengths. I think they both have their weaknesses. And I think overall, like if you force me with a gun in my head, who's more skilled, I'll probably just edge it to Crawford as a guess, but we'll see. Right? And this idea that the Canelo, it's only the size. That's why I don't know what to pick because of the size. And it's like, man, let me tell you something, man. Like, I think people are going to be very, very surprised. Like, there's some people out there that are talking about Canelo like he's some like poor man's version of Arthur Abraham, like the way they're talking about him. Like, you know what I mean? Like Bradley's over here. Bradley's like a former world champion. He's talking about how Canelo, he just has a high guard. And he just comes forward and he just throws haymakers. That's just what Canelo does. And it's like, come on, what have we done? Mm-hmm. You know, so, and for the first time in a long time, Canelo can actually put some punches together because there's not a lot of mass coming at him like with these big guys, right? He's going to enjoy being a big man for the first time in a while. So, yeah. But those are my thoughts for that for now.
That's all I got.
All right, guys, I gotta get to back to work. So for Calix, this I'm out. Peace.
God bless.